I'm Christine Stavropoulos.
Και εγώ ο Νίκος Σαμίδης. Και αυτό είναι το Greek Podyssey, το podcast της Ομογένειας.
A podcast for Hellenes worldwide, sharing stories, culture, identity, laughs and a little bit of tsugrisma along the way.
Γιατί μπορεί να φύγαμε από την Ελλάδα, αλλά η Ελλάδα δεν έφυγε ποτέ από μας. This podcast brought to you by Roasting Warehouse.
From Melbourne
to Brisbane,
and now in Athens.
Roasting Warehouse, shaping the global coffee culture.
Dream big.
And life is better with great coffee. Roasting Warehouse.
Welcome to the first podcast of the Greek Podyssey. You're with Christine
And Nikos.
Γεια σου, Nico.
Γεια σου, Christine.
It's been a long time coming.
Finally, we're here.
We've had lots of teasers. A lot of people have been excited and waiting, and we've accumulated followers, and we're ready to rock and roll.
After we fought with wizards and dragons.
So we're taking you on a journey around the world. All roads lead back to Greece, though, right?
So how do you feel? How do you feel for having this project coming true as a first episode?
Look, for me, it's all about, and let's just set the scene. Today is about people getting to know us, right?
Correct.
You and I, and what we're like, what we're about, what they have to look forward to. I've always been someone that loves a new challenge, and you and I both have been on radio. This is a very different medium. It's a new challenge, and it's fun, and it's ours. And we're going to share it with the world and the Greek Diaspora. And we're going to bring you so many different things and laughs and maybe a few tears along the way when we hear something that's sentimental.
Definitely.
There'll be lots of sentimental stories and even stories from our childhood. I've got lots to tell.
I'm pretty sure you got a lot of time. I want to share our vision, why we decide to do this podcast. For me, first of all, one of the reasons is because I want to connect all the Hellenes of Diaspora around the world. We have a lot of things in common.
And things that we don't have in common.
Correct. But we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know until we reach our hand out. I like looking at Reels and Instagram, and sometimes I'll see Greeks from far places and I'll think, I wonder what they're doing right at this moment. I wonder what they do different to us, what they do the same. It's just fascinating.
Are they struggling the same way that we're struggling? Are they having a good time the way that we're having a good time? There are so many things that we don't know one for the others, like the communities. How the Greeks surviving, thriving abroad, in USA, in UK, in wherever, Asia.
An example, I was in I'm not going to say because I'm just going to give away my age. Okay. A long time ago, I was in Los Angeles and I'm in California and it was Easter and I went to church and I was surprised at how informal it was, how different it was. I saw people dressed in Australia,
pajamas?
Not quite pajamas, but it was just a little bit more corporate and casual but formal at the same time. We here tend in Australia, because we'll say we're in Australia, because wherever you're listening to us from and around the world, Nico and I live in Sydney, Australia. It's a little bit more formal. We get dressed and everything is a bit more structured. There it was like really chilled.
Yeah.
It felt really different.
Nice.
It was nice. It was nice. And obviously in Greece, when I had Easter in Greece in 1990. And I was, wow, people come here in jeans and sand shoes and it was just so relaxed and I really enjoyed it.
So what's your vision?
Of this podcast?
Yes. Why? Why this podcast?
I love to share with you different things because although you're born here, you left when you were a little boy, about 3. You grew up in Greece. So I see you as a Greek person.
Yes.
Greek. I'm a Greek person
I
too.
see you as a Greek person as well.
I'm a Greek person too. But I lived more of a dual life here. I was an Australian-born Greek. In my younger days, trying to assimilate to be more Australian, less Greek,
Mm-hmm.
for various reasons, which we'll discuss along this podcast. And as I was learning more about the richness of my culture, what was a turning point for me? When I was in Greece,
When you had Capuzzi with feta.
that is a given. No, what touched me, synesimatica. I heard the story of my grandfather who was living in Ponto, in Samsunda, and he left Greece when he was 15 on his own.
Mhm.
His brother went one way and my grandfather went another, and it took him 2 years to walk across Turkey into Greece at 15, and he got to Greece when he was 17. No family. He worked as a shoe shine boy, and one day in Omonia Square, he looked up and he sees his mother and his sister
Are you serious?
out of the blue. I'm listening to it now and I really want to tear up.
I think you do.
I did. I was just so emotional. My grandfather told his story on radio in Greece, and it was transcribed. And I thought, these are my roots. My grandfather really struggled, risked his life. He got to Greece, settled in Neonia, where many of the migrants, refugees,
Yes.
settled.
Piraeus.
My father was born, and no, my papa was in Neonia. not Piraeus.
Yeah. Okay.
And then my journey started from there. And also, you just appreciate, the older you get, the more precious life becomes, and you see it more as a gift and a treasure. And I thought, my grandfather gave me a real gift to travel all that way, and I wanted to connect with his roots, my dad's roots. And I started to break the shackles that were holding me between the dual. I have to be Australian, because we were taught that in school. You can't be Greek. Our parents, we grew up in the generation, although it was the best generation because we didn't live through wars, we lived in a generation of an identity crisis where teachers would call our parents up to school and say, you're not to speak to your kids in Greek or Italian or Lebanese or whatever. You have to only speak English. And we wanted to really fit in with the kids there. We wanted to have, even though if we didn't like Vegemite sandwiches, we had to have Vegemite sandwiches because we had to fit in with the other kids.
Nice.
And I think the more migrants that came to the country, because my dad arrived in 1952, and we exposed the world to our culture and other cultures, we decided to take more pride in who we are,
Yeah.
and to showcase that side of us.
I think I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think to maintain the Greek identity while living abroad, it's a very tough thing, because everything, if you don't keep your language, if you don't keep your traditions, and all that keeps the Greek spirit alive in your family, they start declining. They start to decline. And you're losing this identity. You're losing this connection that you have with Greece and what it means to be Greek. There is
What does it mean to be Greek?
Well, that's
a topic on its own.
That's a very hot topic, what it means
Yes.
to be Greek. I know people that they live in Greece, they're born in Greece, they live in Greece, and they don't love Greece.
And I know people that have no Greek background that go and live in Greece, and they see
And
themselves
they
as Greek.
love Greece.
And they
love.
say, I'm Greek.
Yes. I
But
love
look-
these people. I love these people. I love all people trying to make the best out of it.
Embrace.
Yes, correct.
Well,
To embrace.
we do have a heritage, an ethnicity that has contributed immensely and still does. I remember I attended a sophistry, another Greek pastime.
Project.
Have Greeks stopped creating? Did we stop in ancient Greece when we had our philosophers and our mathematicians and our poets and our writers? Have we stopped? Because we keep referring to the golden age of Greece, but when you move forward and you delve, we've had Greek incredible doctors, poets. We still continue to thrive and evolve and contribute So I want to explore all those avenues because our audience isn't only going to be Greek. We have a lot of Philhellenes, which is why we're speaking English. We could have been speaking Greek and been none the wiser and speaking Greek.
Τα μιλάμε και τα δύο
Να μιλάμε και
όμως.
τα δύο.
Τα μιλάμε και τα
Γιατί
δύο.
πρέπει να μιλάμε και τη γλώσσα μας,
Φυσικά.
να καταλαβαίνει τη γλώσσα μας. So we need to speak Greek because it makes me feel good in my soul to speak Greek. But we have a lot of Philhellenes. I'll give you an example. There's David Hill that heads the unification, the world's organization, and he's the Australian representative for the unification of the marbles. Now, he doesn't have a Greek heritage. The name Hill gives it away. We can't exclude people that love to know about us by limiting to one language. It's a bilingual program. And there'll be situations where we interview someone that doesn't speak any English, and that'll be great. But you can always go onto our YouTube and see the captions, so you're never going to miss out on anything that we have to say.
Correct. Σωστό.
Sostop.
Okay, and let's talk about, it's like I'm interviewing you now.
And I'm interviewing you.
Yeah. Okay.
We usually do that to other people, don't we? We're doing it to each other.
Correct. Okay, what's the subjects that we're going to raise and we're going to cover on our podcasts? So what topics?
I've reached out to people in other parts of the world that are Greek, and I've reached out to people that aren't Greek. There was an African-American lady who has moved to Greece, and I came across her on Instagram, as I come across a lot of interesting people, and I contacted her and I said, I really want to know why you left and why you're in Greece. I mean, I don't want to give you the why from my perspective because I can tell you.
Yeah.
I want to know your story and how you're assimilating and stories like that. People that have achieved, whether it's in movies, whether it's in music.
So we're going to have interviews.
We're going to have a lot of
people,
interesting interviews.
With scientists,
Yep.
artists.
And it'll be discussions. It won't be like an interview per se.
Correct.
It'll be like we're in our living room here and we're just going to have a nice conversation as we do.
Καφεδάκι.
Καφεδάκι.
Κουβεντούλα.
Αυτό. That's what Greeks do.
Okay. Philosophize.
We sit and philosophize all day. In ancient Greece, the orators would set up their little soapbox in the platia in ancient Greece, and they would start orating, and people would gather around and listen. So I want to evoke some of that. And of course, if people write in and tell us they want to hear a specific subject or speak to a specific person, we're always open to that as well. This is your Podyssey, your Greek Podyssey. And we're just the vehicle and the conduit that are going to take you on this long journey. And we're never going to run out of people to speak to or topics
Of course,
to say.
topics are unlimited.
We're going to talk about Gringlish. And the diaspora has developed its own language outside of Greece. Because when you're combining two languages.
So this will be part of the Greek language. And
it'll be part of Greek language and how it's evolved, how we communicate.
Correct.
And things that we've adopted language through our parents that isn't necessarily correct. But to us, it's correct.
It was a way of communication.
We changed
the way
it.
that, but the adaptation of the language was very important for the Greeks to be able to survive abroad.
Of course, because then you had the situation where the lady would go to the fruit shop and she'd want to buy eggs and she didn't know how to say eggs and she'd go, sign language. But there has been a language that's developed. We want to know, though, where does that stand now? Because I'm first generation, then my kids are second generation. That's another language that will disappear as the generations. Because my passion and my concern at the same time is what happens to Greek language as the generations start to dilute with mixed marriages. What side of your ethnicity do you hold? How important it is to you?
I think that comes down to how the family takes that matter. Like how seriously.
Well, we need to have a responsibility.
100%.
I've got 2 kids. My son's wife is Australian and my daughter's husband is half Greek, half Scottish. So I'm thinking, Christine, you've got a bit of a challenge here because it's very easy for your kids to speak English and even more so for their kids. So how are you going to address this situation? And I've explained to each of them that the best gift you can give your kids is another culture and another language, because they're growing up in Australia. This is the language and the culture that they're going to live and know. So you don't want to neglect the richness of this other culture, particularly if you want to stay in good with your mother-in-law. Yeah,
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But we're not only gonna have these serious big
No.
matters.
We've got
but
comedians.
We got a lot of like little small topics that very interesting and they have a lot of fun.
Yes.
For example, we're gonna have
Cooking.
cooking.
We all love cooking.
Yes, of course.
Like it is the
that's-
center, the epicenter of the home.
Yes.
In any Greek home
Yes.
is the kitchen.
And
Cooking and how they do it overseas.
yes, because maintaining the Greek cuisine is
Yes.
part of our culture.
It is.
Okay, not only fast food at home. We never had that.
But
We never had that.
I noticed
in
though,
Greece.
even with the fast food chains, they do a twist to make it specific to the regional country that they're
to
in.
be more
They might put-
attractive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's stay away from that. We
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Our Mediterranean cuisine is paramount. It's like all the best nutritionists, doctors recommend. Have our olives here. The best.
We do the
Yeah.
θα μαζέψουμε τις ελιές μετά.
So we're going to have people that cook from other parts of the world, comedians, because comedy and theatre is very much of ancient. It originated
Yeah,
from
of course.
ancient Greece. So comedy is a way to send a message out and to parody, to highlight, to disparage sometimes. So we're going to have comedians because we want to laugh.
We're going to talk about the coffee culture,
Coffee culture.
frappe vs espresso.
Yes. Whose coffee is this?
Yes, is it Greek coffee or
music-
Turkish coffee? That's
you-
another.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I spoke to someone who swore by that they're very different because I went into the supermarket and I wanted to buy coffee. And what caught my eye was 2 jars, bushels. One was side by side. One was Greek and one was Turkish. And I said, even if I asked myself this question, if I was a Greek person, would I reach for the Turkish coffee or would my patriotism overcome me and I take the Greek coffee, even though I might like the Turkish coffee better?
Okay, let me tell you something. It's the same coffee.
It's actually not.
It
It's
is.
not. The
It
Turkish
is.
is a darker roast. We're going to do it. We'll do a test
It's the
here.
same coffee.
But
labeled differently, and that's
But
marketing.
you think national identity is so important that they would, and for the politics aside and the history,
It's a marketing.
bushels made 2 types of coffee.
Yeah, it's a marketing.
Interesting.
I understand that. Yes, it is because I want to have both sides on the market as a target. So the labeling differently. So
Music
can
is
have
another
them.
one that we obviously, and I have this advantage because you're my co-host and my dear friend, also happens to be an accomplished musician
Thank you very much.
in the Greek scene in Greece and in here. You have collaborated with some of the big names in Greece. You're a
Don't
maestro
drop-
yourself. I'm not dropping names.
Thank you.
You will roll them out as we go along. So I really want us to explore the different types of music
Well,
and interview some
we
key
in
artists.
Greece we are so lucky because we have this variety of different foods, different music, different traditions on different regions.
Different regions, exactly.
And that's so, like
Powerful.
in such a tiny country, to have that big variety of different styles of music and different styles
I
of
love it.
cooking. And that's amazing. It's unique.
Nico, when I go to Greece, I'm like a little girl in a candy shop. I have my camera and my microphones, and I just can't get enough of what I see on the street. Talking to people, interviewing someone in a restaurant, The street art is phenomenal in Greece. The street art culture with musicians or
I must let you
painters.
know that busking was illegal a few years ago in Greece.
How few?
Like maybe 6 or 7 or so, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It was illegal. Now, the last 7 years, 6, 7 years, it has been started.
Well,
You
times are
need a
tough.
permit.
Times are tough. You
Come
need
on,
to
man.
make-
You're in Greece. If you don't perform in streets, that's what Greeks used to do in ancient Greece. Yeah.
Do you know,
Ancient
in
Greece.
2017, I was walking along your hometown, Thessaloniki,
Yeah.
where the Aspropyrgo is, the
Lefkopyrgo.
Lefkopyrgo.
No, Aspropyrgo. Come on, man. Aspropyrgo.
Okay, all right, okay. Anyway, I'm walking and I could hear this beautiful music and I was just drawn to it. And I kept walking and I found 3 rebetises, 3 girls.
Hmm.
They were outstanding. I'm thinking I could pick them up from here, put them in the club, in a little kutuki or a little boîte, and it would be a great. And they were called Tutsitsani angels.
The Agili.
Iagili Tutsitsani. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll never forget them. Then, of course, on what I put on our social media, the puppeteer. I was blown away.
That was,
The
yeah.
intricacy
Yes.
of the puppet playing the bouzouki, and I was really wowed by that.
Well, Greece has amazing artists.
Yes.
That's something no one can take
It's
it
entertainment
away
in
from you.
itself. You don't have to go, all right, you'll go to the bouzouki, you'll do all that. But if you want to be entertained in Greece, you just grab a tilichto, a little, or a kalamaki of souvlaki.
Did you say Kalamaki to Thessalonikian? Thessalonikian?
Why? Why? Tell me. Ipapatata.
Come on, man. Okay, so there is a big dispute about
Yes.
the Kalamaki and gyro, pita gyro.
Kalamaki is just a stick.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what
But Kalamaki is the one thing that you drink your frappe.
Oh, a straw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
Kalamaki.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Here it's
so
called the
that's a big debate about
Yes.
this. Which
yeah,
one
the,
is?
the subtle differences with, and I love Thessaloniki, by the way. So we've got a lot of things that we're going to explore, and between us and with special guests that are specific and experts on certain topics.
Of course, we're going to connect with people from other countries
Yeah, Enoite.
and associations,
Yeah.
many artists, and we're going to have many interviews with people from
I'm really interested to know
Canada, USA, and
associations around the world. Are they different to us? What do they do different to us? Are they relevant? Have they changed? Have they evolved?
well, that's a big
That's a big
question
topic.
mark. Yeah, big topic. What the Greek associations in Australia, in America, in Canada do to maintain the Greek culture and to not only to maintain, but at the same time to educate people about the Greek culture.
When they first started, though, Nico, their prime objective was to get people that had just arrived, didn't speak any English, to network with people from their own part of Greece, to feel like it was home. They
Yes.
weren't there to educate anybody.
Yeah.
They were just there to feel like they belonged. Over the years, that generation has disappeared.
Mhm.
My generation has come through, and then the following generation has come through. So the initial reason for the associations no longer exists, but they're still important.
I would like to say that there are some associations that are doing a great job,
Yes.
but there are some others that be stuck to 70s,
Yeah.
60s and 70s, and that's not working because the youth, they're not following, and that's a big problem.
And why do you think? Because it's not relevant to them anymore.
It's not interesting.
Yes.
It's not interesting anymore. Okay, souvlaki and kalamatiano, it's okay, it's part of our culture, but it's not
It's
only
not all
that.
of it, exactly.
It's not only that.
And it goes back to what you said about regional parts of Greece. Every region has its own artist, its own art, its own theatre, its own costume, its own identity. So I think it's nice to explore the next level because we don't want associations to die. They're very important.
Look, Christine, my opinion is that we, and I say we need to adjust our game. We need updates.
And we need to
need
know
an
how
upgrade.
others are doing.
We need an
adjusting, yeah.
upgrade
Yeah.
on
A
hard
re-
disk. We need to. We're running in Windows 5.
Yeah,
That's-
it's true.
that-
It's true.
So we need to come back stronger and to be close to the youth. What's their needs? What's the needs?
And the
Why?
youth isn't only Greek youth now, because, like we said, when our parents arrived, they were predominantly Greeks, married to Greeks. Then, when my generation came, it was again predominantly Greeks, married to Greeks. Now that is changing. So we need to bring the other side into the picture, into the fold, to be part of our greater community.
And that's one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing.
Yes,
That's a need. I had this need,
a thirst, a hunger,
a hunger
Yes.
to leave something behind me,
a legacy,
a story.
a story.
If I can contribute through this podcast, even that much, and bring more people close to Greece and close to the Greek culture, for me, that's an achievement.
Well, it's a space
I'll
where we're
be
going to
happy.
share stories. It's a
Yes.
space where we share stories. Even stories growing up. When being first generation, I'm just going to diverge a little bit. It was hard. I'll tell you why. I was the firstborn and I had a strict dad, strict parents. Well, my dad. All the other girls at school, non-Greek, they would go to the school dances, they would go out. For me, it was a real battle to convince my dad when I was maybe 15 to go to the school dance. And after so many battles, he let me go. But what did he do? He waited in the car park of the school hall and he just waited. And while he was waiting, he was seeing kids walking out of the hall into dark corners to make out,
Yeah.
because that's what kids
Yeah,
did.
of course.
And I didn't know that my dad was waiting and watching all of this.
Are you with that naughty? Come on now.
I
What-
wasn't naughty. I was a good girl. But what he did, when it was time to go, I left my cardigan in the hall. And my dad said, come on, I was dying at 1,000 deaths by now. I was thinking, oh my God, please don't come inside. Please don't come inside. So my dad walks into the hall with me to find my cardigan. And there were couples, young kids, kissing,
Yeah.
and he's pulling them apart. He can find my
That's so
cardigan.
Greek.
It's so Greek.
That's so Greek.
That's why when I saw my big fat greeting with Mr. Portocalos,
Yes.
I'm thinking, he's my dad. Like,
And
we
that's-
all- and that the next day, my father went to the principal and said, what did I witness last night? It was like a Sodom and Gomorrah. and kids were kissing and doing and this. And because of my dad, they roped off the hall. So you weren't allowed out of that perimeter at the school dance anymore. I'm thinking, please don't find out that it was my dad that facilitated it.
That's how you got your helicopter parenting? Because I know you've done a few similar things.
Okay, yeah, not to that. Yeah, maybe.
Yes,
maybe.
yes.
It becomes part of your DNA. You
Yeah,
live
of
it
course,
after a
of
while.
course. There are tactics
Yes,
you need to follow in order to have a good family.
it was. It was. You know, my father was a very powerful influence on my life. A good influence, I'd say, because he had a very good work ethic, very kind, very firm in the house, and I wanted to take some of those values and transport them with adjustments to make them relevant to
I like
today.
that. I like that. The adjustment part.
You have to make the
Of course
adjustments
you have to.
to my kids. And I think by and by, I did.
Yeah.
And when my dad passed away, because the kids would always look up to my dad, and I'd go out and my dad would say to my sisters, be careful of the men with the shiny shoes,
Oh.
which meant just be careful of smart talkers. And then he'd always say, before we'd walk out the door, safety first, last, and always. So my kids would then say to my dad, Papu, safety first, last and always. Do you know that we engrave that on his tombstone?
Oh, really?
Safety first, last and
That's
always.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's so good.
Yeah. This
That's
is when I
very
said
good.
we're going to get a little bit emotional.
Yes, we have
We
to.
go back,
We have
but
to.
growing up in a migrant family had its challenges, but it had its beauty. And I
100%.
miss a lot of those times.
100%. And of course, we couldn't have achieved all that we're doing today if we hadn't our friends and sponsors of these podcasts,
Yes, of course.
which are first of all friends and then sponsors. They love the idea. They love the idea.
They love the idea,
project.
and we're so grateful to our sponsors.
So I would like to name some.
Absolutely.
My friend George Paris and the family George Paris from the Roasting Warehouse is a major sponsor of our podcast. It's a great Greek business, thriving in the starting in Melbourne. That got a roasting warehouse. Then they went to Brisbane, and now they got a Cosmos in Athens.
That's what excited me, that we have an actual direct connection to Greece.
Yes, 100%. And these guys, I love the project. I love the job they're doing.
They're doing amazing things. I went onto their Instagram,
Yes.
and I was blown away by the variety. Like, you talk about Roasting Warehouse and you think they're just coffee roasters, but they're that and so much more.
No, man.
Creative.
That's what I said to Alexander. You guys shaping the coffee culture.
Yes.
That's 100%.
So excited to have them on
I
board.
love to they have the Freddo espresso, Freddo cappuccino, the matcha, everything. The
food is outstanding.
Man, I want to be there, but we're a bit far away. Hopefully, we're going to see something here in Sydney
Yes.
as well soon. Another sponsor of
M&J Chickens.
M&J Chickens.
M&J Chickens have been an institution in Sydney for over 40 years. They have the best quality poultry, but more importantly, they've got heart, they've got soul. They support, they've got a good social enterprise, corporate standard. And when I told them about our project, it was a yes straight away. And I'm so grateful because as a community, it's about contributing and assisting and supporting. And you and I have done that our entire lives. And I just get so touched. And I do get emotional when I think that people do that for us as well. And
Yes.
I'm really grateful.
Thank you very much.
And then there's my friend Vula from Thalassia.
Yeah.
Oh, the most beautiful Greek artwork. She brings it direct from Greece. There will be one going here somewhere. But jewelry and clothes from artisans that create, and we'll be interviewing a couple of those as well. Because when I go to Greece and I see the art and the jewelry, the stonemasons, oh my God, I just go crazy. So it's good to bring a little bit of that to the world. So that we
Let's finish with the sponsors.
Oh, yes.
I would like to thank the Mytilenean Brotherhood for hosting
This
this
is our
podcast.
studio. And
They gave us all the support that we needed. And I would like to personally thank
another
everyone.
function of an association that gives to the community.
Yes, thank God.
Yes.
Thank God. For me, it's very important. And I felt the love.
Yeah, I feel the love all the time when I step into this place. But we'll be doing it at Lesvos.
Yes.
Is an outstanding island. My mum is from there. She left when she was a little girl. But the island has a plethora of things that people think it's just an ouzo, feta, olive oil. It has so many sites. The petrified forest, unique. It's got Molivo, the castle. It has Ayaso, the little village that's all pottery, a long history. So we're going to be showcasing the island of Lesvos, and it's going to be
not only
beautiful.
the island of Lesvos, we're going to showcase many islands.
Many islands, but this one in particular as a tribute to the Mytilenean
Brotherhoods.
Yes, and we're always going to have someone special from the island that's going to take us on the tour and tell us what you can see, what you can expect. So we're a travel show, a language show, a cooking show, a cultural show, a storytelling. Storytelling is always very important. we've got a lot of things to cover,
That's
Nicholas.
all under the Greek umbrella,
Of the Greek
the Greek
Podyssey,
umbrella of the
yes.
Greek Podyssey. We gonna have a 5-minute segment on each episode
Absolutely. That's
with
yeah.
our
Natasha
legal
Karamichou.
advisor, Natasha Karamichou. We will dig into legal aspects and
A lot.
matters
Yeah.
that many of the Greeks living abroad facing, and
Well, you
they're
know why,
really
Nico?
challenging ones. It's not an easy thing to deal with the Greek bureaucracy.
When we ran that by a few people, they jumped and, oh, yes, and we want to know about this and we want to know about that. So we thought, oh, this is going to be very popular. It's a minefield. And you can't just Google a lawyer and hope to find someone good. We did the homework. We found Natasha and we developed this rapport with her. And I just have to state, she won't be giving legal advice. Legal advice will be given if you want to take your case to her, because every case is different.
Yes,
It's
correct.
specific. We'll just be giving guidelines like
Correct.
these are the challenges if you want citizenship. These are the things that you need to look at. And then if you need someone on the ground,
The biggest challenge is you can beat the bureaucracy. The Greek bureaucracy, it's a very tough thing.
I beat bureaucracy. I'm a citizen now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
So, yeah, Natasha will assist
A 5-minute segment.
5 minutes.
So please, if you want to send in your questions, there's a number of ways. You can email us at thegreekpodyssey@gmail.com. Through our Instagram, The Greek Podyssey, the Facebook, there are our handles, or our website, thegreekpodyssey.com.
.com.
And you can drop us a question and we will pass those on to Natasha and she'll answer them within the course of little segments. So that's going to be very popular.
Also, what we're going to do is we will going to have some live sessions
Yes?
so the people can engage.
Join in, engage direct.
Engage direct with us with questions and answers.
Yes.
And that's a very good...
We want to talk to you direct, so that's going to be really good.
I wish we could have a big auditorium and we could have everyone in and have a real... But we can do that. That's another project that we can put on.
We can. Look, καρδιά να έχεις, you got heart, and you've got the will, you can make anything happen.
Correct. Συμφωνώ απόλυτα.
Yes.
So, what's the next step?
The next step is we just keep the podcasts coming. We will be streaming on all the streaming channels, platforms. So you can find us everywhere and on YouTube, where you'll be able to see the videos and the captions. You can always go on the YouTube and read the captions.
I would like to have some interaction with our audience when it comes to subjects and topics. We want to have everyone
A question.
Not only a question,
A suggestion.
a suggestion.
But I'd love to say, should the Olympics return to Athens,
Yes.
for example?
What do you mean?
And you say yes and someone else will say no. So I'd want to do that
You
as
mean
a
forever?
live. Yes, every year.
That would be lovely.
Would it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some people say no.
Why?
The congestion, the logistics, the infrastructure,
Yeah.
coupled with tourism, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. I'd love to have that as a live and people can be commenting.
Oh, about the Parthenon marbles.
Listen, don't go there.
No, I'll go everywhere.
That is my pet project. I have so much passion for the reunification of the marbles. I have my own theory. I'll share it with you. Do you want me to share it with you?
Not now.
Okay.
When the time comes.
See, it really gets my blood boiling
Yeah, I can see you.
because I have moderated a couple of keynote discussions on the marbles. I've learnt a lot and I have a lot to share and impart my opinion as well. And let's see how that progresses along the way.
I like your attitude now that you're talking about your topic and you're very confident. I like this style.
Yes, this is my style. When I'm passionate about something, you know about it. I just want to ask you, Nico, you grew up in Greece.
Yes.
Did you try to hang on to anything Australian or you just parked that here and you just thought, I'm just Greek through and through? Did you ever think about your Australian citizenship, birthright, not your birthrights per se, but the place where you were born? Did you feel any connection to it while you were living in Greece?
Look, when we left from Adelaide, because I was born in Adelaide, I was 3 years old. So my memories and my experience in Australia with it was nothing.
Well, you
actually.
weren't born in a major city.
No, I love Adelaide. I love Adelaide. What are you
It's a
talking
bit-
about?
I love Adelaide.
I love Adelaide.
The city of churches.
Man,
the sleepy town.
It's a hippie town.
It's a sleepy
I
town.
love it. I love it. I love Adelaide. And so I grew up in Greece. I grew up in Europe, in Greece. And I came back in 2011. Since I came back to Australia, I always try to find reasons to feel as Australian. But it's very difficult for me.
What sort of reasons? How did you go about that?
I can't adapt myself. I can't feel
It's a bit hard.
the celebration of Australian Day, for example.
A lot of Australians can't.
I can't feel celebrating Christmas
In the summer.
in the summer. It's something that keeps me bothering me and keep my brains dysfunctioning during that period. Like
You've never shared that with me.
no, I can't. I don't feel like it's Christmas. The song says "Dancing to the Snow." That
Yeah.
it's not a swimming on the beach,
I'm dreaming of a white
surfing
Christmas.
it. Yeah, which a lot of people, the Australians, love it.
Yeah.
They love spend the Christmas time on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't. When we put in the Christmas tree,
You spray it with.
and I sprayed with the snow, and I said to myself, "What are you doing? It's summer. Come on."
What about me that sticks a big, 8-kilo turkey in the oven?
Ah, your turkey is the best turkey. Yeah.
Sitting
we-
roasted all day.
Yeah. These little things. No, I can't say that I feel like a Ferit Kemozi.
I go to Greece, and when my plane touches down and I walk through customs, I feel like I'm home.
Καλημέρα σας.
Kalimera says.
Καλώς ήρθατε στην Αθήνα.
But
And I hugged the hostess. I
But
said, thank you
when-
very much. I'm here.
when I fly back and touch down in Sydney
Yeah.
and I walk out in customs, I feel like I'm home again.
Yes. Well, that's another subject that we're going to touch. The double identity. How is to have two countries in your hearts? That's very difficult.
And do they each feel the same portion of my heart?
It's up. I think it's different from it because I know people, Greek Australians, that live here in Australia and they haven't visited Greece for 35 years.
Look, when I go
How
to
you doing
Greece,
that?
when I go to
Like-
Greece and I say that I'm born in Australia, I feel my sense of pride, my Aussie pride, that I'm born in a beautiful country that is safe,
Mm-hmm.
offers a lot. We have a lot to be thankful for.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful and grateful for had the opportunity, because I was born here, to come back to Australia
Yeah.
and give a second chance
But then when
for my life and my family's.
when I tell people that I'm of Greek heritage, I feel I feel a burning pride for my ethnic DNA, my roots, my heritage. Those roots, I think, as the older I get, they grow deeper
Mm,
because
yeah,
it's where I've come from.
I know what you mean.
It's what I identify as, and I counterbalance that with being a Greek Australian. I get the best of both worlds.
But
and,
you feel
and you
like
can do it now.
okay, now that's very strategic
You think-
movement. Okay, I know that's politics, but what do you feel? Do you feel Greek or you feel Aussie?
I feel Greek.
You feel Greek.
Greek, Australia is in my heart. It's the country I was born in. It's my nationality. I've got dual nationality now. So
Yeah.
I've got two nationalities,
Me too.
Greek, and up until recently I only had Australian nationality. It's where they say, "Το αίμα τραβάει."
Yeah.
So they say blood is thicker than water. My bloodline goes back there, and it just pulls me, and I feel it more. And I've noticed with my kids as well, as they're getting older, they're connecting more to their Hellenic side, even with their kids, with their little ones. And my daughter-in-law as well. She wants to know as much. I'll give you an example. My daughter was married in Paros in 2017, and my daughter-in-law, who was then my son's girlfriend, came along with her family. They came along, and when Andrew proposed a year or so later, I wasn't going to suggest a Greek wedding because I thought the in-laws were Australian and I wasn't going to impose that on them.
Why? You should.
No, because I thought
Don't hold back. Don't
didn't-
hold back.
I didn't want to be that mother-in-law, right?
Ian!
I didn't want to be that mother-in-law. When the kids rang and said to me, "We want to have the wedding in Greece," I went, "Yeah." They chose to do that. They loved it so much. Jade and her parents loved that so much that they wanted to have a wedding in Greece. That's when I thought, all right, I had a cycladic, to kikladiko. I still wouldn't.
Kikladitiko.
Kikladitiko. Are you going to have that boing every time I say something wrong?
Yeah, I'll have it. I'll
you'll
put
have
it
a
up.
boing. We decided to go to Syros because it was end of September, and Syros, probably one of my favorite islands. It's that beautiful neoclassical, that elegant, that artistic. They had each had a Greek wedding, totally different weddings, and both married in Greece. So, that for me meant the world. I wasn't going to impose it or suggest it. And
You're lucky.
yeah, I lived my dream.
Beautiful. I can't wait to keep this rolling and to have a second episode
And then our guests
and
come
guests
along.
to come on.
Yes, both local and overseas by a video. But it's good to have couple of people sitting on the couch with us.
Oh,
and
yeah.
resting up
Don't
against
get
the
it.
cushions.
If you go a
here.
bit further to your left.
Are you suggesting-
No, don't.
I am trying to lose weight.
Just your legs.
Okay.
No, that.
So
okay.
this has been a great start
It is.
for people to
It
get to
is.
know us. You'll get to know us
I'm
a
very
lot more.
happy. I'm very proud that we achieved all that from scratches,
From
from
scratch.
nothing.
Absolutely.
It was an idea on February and it came up
bit by bit.
to projects.
And we made a lot.
Right.
We did a lot of teasers, and people saying, "Okay, so when are you going to start?" And my son was saying, "Mum, just get in that damn studio and just fucking record."
I would like to say a big thank to the people not only contributed as sponsors, but they guide us through that. Amanda, Andrew,
Jade,
Jade,
Jason.
and Jason.
Yes,
So the gang.
yes, the gang.
These guys.
Because we have a gang behind us. It's
Thank
not
you
just
so
us.
much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yes, we're
We have a gang.
a
tribe.
good one. A good one.
It takes a tribe. It takes a village
Also-
to raise a family, and we've got our village
I would
around
like
us.
to thank Gabriela
Yes, and Greek City Times.
and Greek City Times for supporting.
And
And
encouraging
collaborating.
collaborating, and we will be platforming there as well. And we just love what they do. Every morning I'll look at what Greek City Times has posted, and they're around the world. And we're excited and happy and honoured to be proud of that journey.
For me, that's all for today. And I think
That's our
that
first one.
people
The
get
getting to
ready
know.
for the ride. It will be an awesome journey. And we're going to cover a lot of things that.
And if we argue, it won't matter because we argue.
No, we have to argue.
We
Otherwise, we're
argue.
not Greeks and we don't argue. So we'll keep a good list of topics.
Yep.
And
Keep it fresh
yes,
and
correct.
interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
For-
me αντέχεις.
And thank you for putting up with me.
Because I'm not an
Fine.
I'm very particular.
You are. You are.
Thank
But you
you
know
very
what?
much.
I'm thankful that you are.
Next one is coming soon.
Yes.
And,
we'll have.
nice and fresh.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
This podcast brought to you by Roasting Warehouse.
From Melbourne
To Brisbane,
and now in Athens.
Roasting Warehouse, shaping the global coffee culture.
Dream big.
And life is better with great coffee. Roasting Warehouse.
I'm Christine Stavropoulos.
Κι εγώ ο Νίκος Σαμίδης. Και αυτό είναι το Greek Podyssey, το podcast της ομογένειας.
A podcast for Hellenes worldwide, sharing stories, culture, identity, laughs, and a little bit of tsugrisma along the way.
Γιατί μπορεί να φύγαμε από την Ελλάδα, αλλά η Ελλάδα δεν έφυγε ποτέ από μας.